Some women are simply born rich, confident, and naturally magnetic to their desires. Let's be clear, this podcast is not for them. However, if you're a soul-driven, visionary, or entrepreneurial woman who's been on a mission to learn how to create a better future bursting to come out of you, welcome to my world. I'm Jo Warwick, and this is Rich, Sexy, and Free. I've dedicated most of my career to helping women get to their core power and unlock the missing pieces for their own unique success. You may already know me as the author of the Big Book of Love. With 30 years experience in psychology, embodiment, manifesting, and energetics. So if this excites you, don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite platform so you can stay up to date with the podcast. Hi, Jo Warwick here, and welcome to today's intimate session. Just you and I. We've had some amazing guests already and incredible guests that are coming, but I find these intimate sessions so important. And today I want to talk about owning your voice, claiming your voice, what it means to bring your voice with passion. Now, this is something that's really come to the forefront for me because I have just launched a new part of my company, which is actually called She Speaks with Passion. And why am I doing this? Because I didn't own my voice until I was 30. And you're listening to this today. It is my birthday today, and I am 49. And when I say I didn't own my voice until I was 30, I mean I did not talk about anything real. I did not talk about trauma or abuse. I did not talk about how I really felt. I did not own my voice until I was 30. Can you imagine? That's a long time to not talk about anything real. And yet in that time, I was unbelievably good still at manifesting, at creating, at attracting what I wanted, but I was using other tools that meant it didn't always last, it wasn't sustainable, and it left me feeling like an imposter. I wasn't being authentic, I wasn't being real, and I was having to use different energies. So a lot of that time had a purpose because it taught me about performance. It taught me about having presence. These things matter if you want to fully own your voice and fully claim your power and fully step into yourself, whether in your business, in the boardroom, in meetings, or speaking to a partner as a woman. So there are key elements that mean you have to own your voice. It doesn't take just speaking. And this was a big journey for me. So of course, when I first started to talk about the things I had gone through that I'd bottled up, there was a lot of pain that had to come up. There was a lot of talking about abuse and trauma and grief and all of those things I'd bottled away. And it felt like, oh my God, if I start speaking, it's never going to end. And I don't want to talk about endlessly about pain, but it did end. And what it brought with it was a force and a power that has been growing ever since in the last 19 years about owning my voice in ways to speak up. A big part of that growth was becoming a writer. This was another way for me to speak up. I learned how to express myself through blogging, through writing books. I found my voice, my tone. Now, if you haven't read The Big Book of Love or A Life More Traveled, people always say when they know me, gosh, it sounds just like you. But at that point when I wrote it, I was writing to find my voice, but I wasn't speaking with my voice. But now when you listen to my podcast and listen to my books, I'm exactly the same. I am exactly the same as I am in person, as I am on this podcast. I swear just as much or not at all. Sometimes I'm quite powerful with my words and other times quite quiet. I have a full range. The important part is that I learned how to bring that power through me. But how did I get there? Well, my journey started performing on stage. So that was a big thing for me. And singing. Singing was always like the way that I brought my voice into action. So even as a little kid, my parents would tell you that I used to sit in the back of the car with the headphones on and I'd be singing away to everything, often missing a lot of words, but I would always be singing. A sign that I'm happy is that I would be humming and singing to myself. This is still a way that I bring energy through me. As I learned to use my voice in different ways, even though I wasn't speaking my truth, it was always my channel. So when I was a medium, I was on stages in churches as a clairvoyant, as a medium, doing that. I thought that was my path for a while. And so I spoke through my voice. This was the way that it was channeling. But that evolved as an energy healer, that evolved, and I spoke more through energy and less through working with spirit. Alongside that, I was performing. I was performing in choirs. I was performing in bands. I was performing on stage at school. I just was always looking to bring myself out somehow, but I couldn't get to the core of what I was bringing out. So I learned how to perform, to bring a presence so that I could come into a room, I could come into a stage and bring myself there. And what does that mean? That means I had this sort of confidence that I could walk into any room. It was a performance, it was a suit I put on, but it made me incredibly confident to step into any room, into any space, and put this performance on, which made me, of course, incredibly attractive as well. And that's part of it. We've got to learn how to use our whole body and presence and embodiment of ourselves to speak as loudly as our voice. Because when women don't connect those parts, that performance, that presence, that audacity, that connection with themselves, not including the authenticity part of the voice, but just with the voice, what happens is they speak too much and say little. They feel unheard and unseen. This is a big thing when people are trying to write copy in their business. So they don't actually say anything. Now, when I worked as a therapist, the biggest key part of that was helping people to speak their truth, speaking to their partners, speaking to their lovers, speaking on dates, speaking about their trauma and their pain, owning their voice and being heard. Now, the irony is, for me, that job, that role was a large chunk of my life was not actually speaking. It was about listening. But it did help me hone my voice as well as I began to do things online in videos. And when I look at some of my old videos, when I started Rediscover the Magic back in, I don't know, 2010, 29, 28, could have been earlier. The first time I went online, and it was very much, oh gosh, the sound quality is terrible and I'm talking too much. But I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. I'm putting myself out there with my voice. And I have other podcasts that I've done, which I've done just as a channel when I've just spoken, or my big love and relationship one, where I'm speaking about something I know very, very well. And that gave me practice too. It was like, how can I find these places? But in my journey, through my work, not just as an entrepreneur, not just as owning my own business and stuff, I've had other companies that I have done an awful lot of presentation. So I presented to the WI a lot. I presented on a lot of stages, on business stages, on environments of group work. But I've also, over my life, been interviewed by people like Sky Sports, the BBC. I've had documentaries done about me. I've been on TV a lot. I also was on I also won like a competition on Radio 1 and was interviewed there. There's many ways that I have ended up being at the forefront in media. And some of it good, some of it bad. I remember my documentary and being interviewed, and gosh, please God, don't let me ever speak like that again. But they were all stages of owning my voice because I felt so deeply unheard as a kid. And that's the bit I really want to share, is that knowing when you feel so deeply unheard, it's because you haven't learned to hear yourself. You haven't learned how to connect your power, your voice, your truth, your authenticity, and bringing it out. Now, there is a lot in coaching and social media and stuff about authenticity. I'm a big fan of it. And yet, again, when you're only speaking from authenticity, when you're only speaking, it can come across as a bit crazy because you're desperately trying to bring out your truth. And yet, you haven't learned the art of performance and presence and clarity to slow down your pace. And this is a really big thing. Learning how to speed up your voice and to slow your voice down so you become easier for people to hear, but also because you have emphasis. These things are so important if you want to speak your truth. We all work on different frequencies. Men and women speak at different frequencies. When we want to be heard in a room and come across with power, we've got to learn how to embody it, show it with our body, but also recognizing that the calmer, quieter your voice is, the more powerful you sound. Now you can hear it as I'm adjusting. But also when we want to put across enthusiasm, there is a difference between that fake enthusiasm, I'm so excited, or the little girl being, I'm so excited. This really high voice becomes different. It's not the same as passion. When we want to press across passion, and that's what people buy. That's what people connect to. What are they buying because they want to be with you, as in buying into who you are as a person, buying into what you have to offer in your company, in your workspace, buying into you in a love affair, or buying into you from buying from you as a brand. She speaks with passion. My new passion project has been brewing a very long time, and it's something that I am deeply called to step into because I have become so aware during this podcast and during my whole life experiences what it has meant for me, the impact it has made on my life, the shift and the changes that happened in how I spoke, in what I received back, in how I got seen, how I got heard. And I know it's the same for my clients. The moment that they shift into owning their voice, even that shift of listening to themselves and owning their voice so that they hear it to themselves first, that confidence emanates through their body. They become a whole different person from the moment that their voice gets activated. And then if they are called to speak that out into the world, maybe it's through art, maybe it's through singing, maybe it's through work, maybe it's through their business, maybe it's about going online. I just know there are so many visionary, empowered, entrepreneurial women who want to be heard, who want to put out their calling into the world and yet don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to come across with power, with presence, with performance, with audacity, with authenticity, and above all, with clarity. So they have confidence in themselves. So they don't feel like an imposter. So they don't feel like everyone's going to find out that they're a fake, that they don't feel like they don't have the confidence to walk into the room, wherever that room is, because it's our job in this world to sell ourselves. Sell ourselves as in put ourselves out there into the universe, into the world with the greatest confidence in who we are. And sometimes performance can get you through that. Sometimes just being in your presence can get you through that. But when you align that with your authentic, clear truth, being able to speak into the world what you desire, everything changes. And life gets super fun. And it gets so fun because you trust in yourself. You don't have to pretend to be someone else because you're stepping into who you really are. You can hopefully hear how excited I am about this. I opened the doors very softly this week, brewing up to my birthday, and I have had over 300 women say, yes, I want to step forward. Now, what I've done is that I'm going to be starting, and this is a soft awareness for you, that from January, I am opening the door to a new voices section to my podcast and also a showcase. So we'll still be having beautiful, amazing VIP guests, But we're also going to have some newer voices on and a roundtable conversation. So I still will be doing my intimate one-to-one session, but I'm opening the platform for more women to speak into being rich, sexy, and free, because that's the foundation of She Speaks with Passion. But it's the idea to bring new conversation, new topics, new ideas to the forefront, and to give a platform for new women to speak. As well as, if you want to come and find out more about She Speaks with Passion, I have opened up a Facebook group, and you can find it under She Speaks with Passion, or an Instagram page that I've also opened up. So I'm gently opening this up. And of course, like always, you can find everything that I'm doing if you head over to richsexyandfree.com. That landing page has everything there. And there will be very soon, you'll be able to see about a Speak Up challenge that I am announcing. There are also going to be some exciting opportunities. My plan is to have this live as well, in-person events. So this is me telling you where I'm going from here with Rich, Sexy and Free, claiming how I have learned to speak with passion and inviting you to speak with passion more in your life by aligning the core elements that you need. And to get heard above all else, I truly believe that women have the right to be heard, but not by stomping their feet, not by jumping up and down, but learning how to have the power to sometimes speak less and say more, to use their full power of presence and magnetism, to learn how to perform. And one of the biggest reminders for me of this was doing improv comedy. That performance and trusting yourself to just step forward, trusting your own knowing and capacity and creativity and inner tuition about what you're saying, what you're passionate about, it comes through you. And so you can just step forward. And that's what we all need. When we want to speak, we can speak from our heart, we can speak from our truth, we can speak from our authenticity, and we can take that moment to trust ourselves. So that reminded me, and I want it to be a place, a home for you if speaking your truth, speaking with passion, being heard and seen, and having that impact that it has on your life, and it does on your life, on other people's lives, that it will alter everything in your life, whether it's at work and you will get promotions, you will get pay rises, you get people who own their voice get paid more. People who own their voice get seen. People who own their voice with passion, with power, with clarity, so they don't have to speak so much, do actually receive more because they're seen with respect and with value. And that's a key point. So it will impact everything, the relationships you have, the opportunities that show up, your ability to drive your own company forward. It gets impacted. And I'm going to be talking about this more. But for me, my whole life changed from the age of 30, where I had, yes, learned the skills to do performance. I had learned the skills of presence, and I relied on that. But when I took that away, there was nothing, because I hadn't learned how to speak my truth. And when I did, oh my gosh, it was a lot of spewing at first. But then I learned how to hone it. I learned how to harness it. I learned how to say what really matters. And I learned how to make a big fucking impact in the world, in the women that I've worked with all over the world, whether one-to-one and in groups. And now even more with my podcast, and now even more again, stepping into events once more, because that's my passion. That's my absolute passion, is connecting with women in real time, face to face, creating groups. And I've done it in different ways, like my improv group, but this is where I'm going. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to connect with you and bring you out to speak with your voice, your passion, and make that impact in the world. So I'm so pleased that I found my voice. I'm so pleased that I've stepped forward on this day, on this 49th birthday. And the woman that I envision myself to be in the next year of this stepping into my 50th year, this is the woman who's making a big fucking impact for you, for me, on a whole new level than I've ever dreamt of. And I hope that you're coming with me, because this is where Rich, Sexy and Free is stepping forward with fire, with passion, and you'll be there. So I'm sending you much love wherever you are today. It's been an incredible one-to-one session. Please get in contact. I love hearing from you. So you can reach out on Instagram, Facebook or LinkedIn, Rich, Sexy and Free, or at She Speaks with Passion. We've got an incredible guest joining us next week, so that will be exciting. Apart from that, I will be celebrating my birthday today. It's been great to connect with you today, but before you leave, if you want to find out more, just simply go ahead and visit richsexyandfree.com. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the podcast.